Hello, everyone. This is Jason Danger Thompson. I am here on the behalf of Performance Sales Consulting, Performance Sales Training. And we're going to talk today a little bit about program implementation. I am currently helping assist a gym in trying to or attempting to get a program off the ground. And we're going to use this as a case study. So we're going to use this as an example of what to do to implement any program. Now, this particular program is a boxing program, but it doesn't really matter what the program is, does it? Nope. It's going to be the exact same template. Now, what I'm going to try to do is illustrate to you through this process how to implement properly a successful program, whatever that might be, whether it's boxing, whether it's a certain class, whether it's a promotion that you're running, but primarily a program, something that you're going to be running for an extended period of time, indefinitely even, assuming that's successful. And this is the best way, the most efficient way to get that done. So if I were you, and I was running a gym or I was trying to promote a program, I would make a checklist of what I'm about to say. And if you go through that checklist one by one, and you're doing these things daily or weekly or monthly, depending on what it asks for, you will be successful. There's no way around it. If you do these every day, you have your entire team believing these principles, not just talking about them, but actually implementing them, actually executing. We can talk about these things all day, but the problem is if you're not executing, it doesn't matter how great the plan is. So go through this, use your checklist, and then execute. As you know, if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm a big believer in teaching a man to fish rather than to teach you specific rebuttals, specific advice based off of things in a vacuum. What I want to do is teach you principles so that you can apply what you know to a variety of different scenarios. And as those scenarios change, you're somebody who's able to adapt because you understand the principles rather than just know a bunch of rebuttals. For that reason, I'm going to stay away from cookie cutter canned approaches and easily dismissible elevator pitches. Okay, so when I was approached to do this, one of the things I was asked to do was come up with some elevator pitches, which I'm happy to do, and those can be valuable as well. But I find if we focus on elevator pitches, it's very easy to dismiss that because we're all bombarded as human beings with pitches every day, subconscious, direct, indirect, banners, ads, Instagram messages, comedy, art, all of it is trying to get our attention different ways. And the human brain, because it's bombarded daily, is filtering constantly for what is viable to you. That's why you have to make it about them. Why is it important to them? What's going to separate us from these other programs or these other marketing strategies that are jockeying for their attention and time and money? As usual, we're going to keep it simple. It doesn't do us any good to create this complex idea and all these bells and whistles up front if we can't execute them. They must be simple. They must be easily understood. Everyone must be able to get on the same page. The goals are aligned, and then we must be able to execute. As always, if anyone wants to know further to your specific situation or further advice, counsel, I'm your man. Contact me, and we will move forward. The first thing I'm going to address is the challenge that we often face in any health and fitness environment when we're trying to implement a new program. What we want to avoid doing, and I've seen this throughout my career in this industry, because we're all sort of in silos. We have a PT department, we have a department that runs our fitness classes, we have the operational side of things, we have the sales side of things. Everyone who manages wants their group to do well, to represent them well, right? That's why they have a job after all. So there's some conflicting interests there sometimes. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that sometimes what we're trying to do doesn't really benefit the overall success of the team. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, how often do we rob from Peter to pay Paul? If we have let's say it's a group class budget, and then we have a personal training budget. How often do you see this in gyms? Well, I can tell you quite a bit because I've experienced this several times in my history. We'll have one team that wants, let's see, the personal training team, for example, to help them engage in promoting this new program. I've seen this in so many gyms. And then what happens is rather than bringing both up together, and again, I'm just using this example. There's countless other examples that are analogous, but this is one that I've experienced so many times. And rather than both programs elevating each other and everyone benefiting, what ends up happening is that's too complicated to do, or they don't want to they take shortcuts and they say, well, instead, let's just worry about this budget right now because this is what looks good to the higher ups, right? Or whatever the case may be. And then what happens is that they want everyone promoting for this one program, but in order to do that, you're actually taking away, you're stripping from the attention from other programs and from the budget of other programs. So instead of both sides coming up, which is what is ideal, one is coming up at the expense of the other program. Now, how do we avoid this? This is not ideal. How do we avoid it? First, we have to be aware of it. I just made you aware of it. So there you go. 2, there must be cross promotion. One side can't be expected to do the work of another department if there's not cross promotion helping the other side. And it needs to be, so in other words, when I was at a different gym years ago, they were asking a class that it was a specialty class, it was a pay per class. It was a new novelty thing. And this gym was running something novel it seemed like every other week. So no one was buying into it because they were running these things so much in a shotgun approach that it was really difficult for anyone involved that they wanted to support them to take it seriously, because we knew that it was robbing from Peter to pay Paul. And we knew that they didn't really know what they were doing and they wanted us to help them. Right. And in the meantime, sacrifice our own budget to help them. And because they never stuck with or executed any of these things consistently, and they just threw a bunch of stuff against the wall and hope it worked, there was no evidence to support that they were going to, in the future, follow through and provide a quality program. So no one was on board wholeheartedly. They would just say things, but wouldn't execute. So you have to have cross promotion. And so what happened was they would ask the PT department to pitch to all their clients. And for me, who was selling for the entire gym at that point, to promote this program across the board to try to drive people, whether they are qualified or not, into this program. And so the challenge then became, well, okay, well, how long do you think that's going to last when you're asking the PT department to go out of their way to help them with something that you're not incentivizing? And if they were incentivizing, the incentives were very low. And then on top of it, they weren't cross-promoting for the PT department. So at any point in time, those class instructors could have invited us in. They could have asked us to spot for their clients or instructed their clients. They could have asked us to come in and give a pitch. They could have, at the end of every class, mentioned that they should get individual instruction rather than just generic, group classes, right? That they would benefit to get individualized professional instruction. But they didn't do that. And so therefore, what I'm advising you to do, if you choose to go this route, make sure you're doing cross promotion. Don't just, because first of all, egos are involved. Secondly, it's just not going to work without cross promoting. So we can offer this in a variety of different ways. We can offer it if you're selling a membership, you can offer it in the point of sale, right? As part of the membership, or you can offer it afterwards. You can offer it individually, like in a vacuum, or once they're already members, like through a PT consult. But it's all done the same way. There's no difference, really, right? There's really not a difference. Yes, you can catch them up front, but the number one thing is they have to be qualified. You're not pushing them to do something they don't want to do. They have to see the value. As always, with every sales video we talk about, you can't talk about sales or implementation of any program without talking about what value are you going to give first to your prospects. What value? If you're not going to give value, if you don't understand the value, if your team doesn't understand the value, how are they going to sell it? Why is there going to be excitement about this if they're not excited? Why are your clients going to be excited about it if they don't see the value in it? Does your team know how to provide value? If not, watch my other videos. Okay, but the value must be given first. Secondly, it doesn't matter how great your program is if you don't get people in front of you to know it. If you don't have enough people coming to you to talk about it, to be excited about it, what difference does it make? So you got to get people in front of you. So your best bet is any new member gets pitched. All right. But again, you're not just pushing it. It's only for people that aligns with their goals. And then, personal trainers, they're in front of a lot of people. Well, their clients need to be doing cardio, correct? So if it's boxing, for example, they need to have cardio. Everyone hates doing cardio. I hate doing cardio. But you know what kind of cardio I do enjoy? Sports cardio. I like playing basketball. I like hiking. Things like that because I don't feel like I'm doing cardio. You know what I mean? Well, not that hiking's cardio, but we'll say endurance cardio, endurance hiking. But I like play basketball. I like swimming. I love hitting a heavy bag. So for me, if someone say, "Hey, do you like cardio?" I'm going to say, "No, I hate it." And I'm going to dread that part of it. I like doing the weights. I don't like doing the cardio. I think a lot of people are like that. So you have to be able to get in their shoes. Okay, well, what if how do you think you would enjoy hitting something? Do you like hitting something? Do you like striking things? Right? Would you like pad work? Well, I've never done it before. Do you think you would like it? Would you want to try it? Right? You have a demo. You have a transition. There's got to be a way you can transition. Demos are fantastic, but the whole point is that you have someone in front of you. You need to have people in front of you before you can do any of that. And so you have personal trainers to do that. You have sales consultants to do that. And then every opportunity to make touch points. So we'll get in that in just a second. But we have to generate opportunities. And where all these opportunities come from? Well, they're all around us. Every touch point, every conversation is an opportunity. But it's an opportunity for you to identify, not push, to identify when somebody could find value in what this program that you're offering. And then you can either touch points, mention it, drop the seed, or you can try to cultivate that seed right then and now, depending on the scenario. That's going to be your experience and your knowledge to know when the appropriate time is to do so. So I wrote this down here, and I want to make sure I said this precisely how I wrote it. The key is to identify and then qualify the opportunities. When I say qualify, I mean, are they in the market for something? Are we pitching them something that they're not in the market for? Because that's just obnoxious, and then they're going to be less apt to want to be open-minded to our offerings later on. Does that make sense? So it's never to pressure. It's always to seek the opportunities. Like, for example, if I'm a personal trainer, I got somebody in front of me who's told me they're not really keen on cardio, but they know that there needs to be a certain amount of cardio every week, a certain amount of resistance training, a certain amount of mobility and flexibility. They know that they need to check off that cardio portion every week. Now, what are they doing for the cardio? Sit down, talk to them about what they're doing for the cardio, what they like doing, what they don't like doing. Oh, it just so happens, okay, if you don't know what to do for cardio, I've got an idea for you. Are you open-minded? Great. Do you like dynamic workouts, interesting workouts, a workout that's not going to get boring? I'm excited about it. Oh, well, let me take you to one. Walk with me real quick. Let me show you. You follow me? We must identify and qualify these opportunities when they present themselves, which is all the time, mind you. If you're in a gym environment, this is going to happen constantly. Every interaction is an opportunity for you to at least be aware of and identify. The front desk, if you have people at the front desk, they need to be trained to know how to identify opportunities because everyone must go where? To the front desk. There's always going to be opportunities. Start a conversation. Teach them at least the bare minimum in terms of interacting with clients and potential prospects. So front desk convos, existing clients, and ongoing touch point opportunities, people that you've talked to in the past that you know where the background and you know what the goals were. Why? Because you did the homework weeks, months, maybe even years ago. And then you take that opportunity, have a convo about their goals again, reiterate their goals. Then you can have the opportunity to recap the value first of what you're seizing the opportunity. Hey, I think I can help you. Recapping what the value is, what those value points, whatever that happens to be, okay, for them. Remember, it's all about them. The value that this person sees may not be the value this other person sees. It's up to you to know that person. That's why the relationship is so important. And then close. And that closing could be signing on the dotted line, but you must first close them on maybe seeing a demo or sitting down with you to discuss it. Hey, well, let me show you real quick. Do you have two seconds to talk? Of course you do. Yeah, we know it's probably going to take 20 minutes, but 2 seconds, get them in the door. Sit down with them. Okay, no one buys when they're standing up. Or take them in the demo first, or at least show them a quick demo. If they don't take the full class, show them the class, walk them out, work with them one-on-one if you're a trainer, show them a little bit. Let's just see if you like striking first, anything like that. And then sit down with them. Recap the value again. This is what you're getting out of it. This is what you can expect. This is why it's great. This is how it's going to work within your program, the parameters of your program. And it's exciting. At the very least, guys, transition them to a demo of the product. You can introduce them to an instructor. You can introduce them to a better salesperson. If you're not the best salesperson for it, but you've identified, let's say you're a trainer and you're not a great salesperson, you don't feel comfortable. Well, you know what? Don't let that opportunity go to waste. Simply get them with someone who's a better salesperson. And then say, hey, this is Mrs. Smith. She's tired. She's really bored with the cardio. And she's looking for something more dynamic and interesting. Something's going to get her in great shape. These are her goals. Could you help her? As a matter of fact, I can. Just so happens that I can. And so that's the idea, that transition. Hand them off to someone who's better than you. That's fine. And then maybe you'll get a credit for that. Bottom line, guys, is engagement. You can't sell anyone without being engaged. You can't sell anyone without establishing a relationship. The relationship's first. Engage them. Get a conversation going. You can once it gets started about anything, talk about their shoes. It doesn't matter. Once you get the conversation started, you can take it any direction you want to. That's the skill level coming in. But you have to first engage them some way, shape, or form. I don't care how it's done. You can knock their bag out of their hand. I don't care. But as soon as the conversation starts, now you can transition it over time. Another good point to make, touch points. As I've discussed in many videos, guys, there is no substitute for touch points over time. Be patient. So the seeds that you're cultivating now are not seeds that you planted yesterday. They're probably planted from weeks or months of building relationships, of being the mayor of your gym. Does that make sense? To cultivating all these relationships over time, very important. You may not, I'll make a boxing analogy right now. So for you boxing instructors out there, it's a perfect example. Let's say you're in round 3, round 1 through 3. You're setting up and you're throwing some jabs. You're doing the same combo over and over again. Bam, 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 bam. And they're getting used to it. You're priming them. You're dropping the seeds for them to get them to expect something or get them used to something. And then later on, maybe in round 5, round 6, they're expecting that same thing to come and bam, shot to the body, shot to the face. They weren't expecting it, were they? The reason you were able to be successful is because you dropped the seeds earlier on in the fight. You got them conditioned to expect something from you, a behavior from you. And then you surprise them and you lure them into this trap. And I don't want to use the word trap because that sounds manipulative. What I mean by that is you have set the stage for them to be more pliable, more open to what's good for them. Right? In this case, a dynamic cardio experience being the key word. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. They never get bored. And I don't care what it costs. It doesn't matter. It can cost $50. It can cost $100. It can cost $1,000. It makes no difference. I'm not thinking about money at all when I'm talking to them. I'm not spending. My mentality is not about what they have in their wallet. I'm not spending with my wallet. What's expensive for me is not expensive for them, and vice versa. I don't care. It's never about the money, guys. This is sales 101. This is something I shouldn't have to tell you at this point if you've been listening to my videos. It's about value. What are they getting out of it? I'm going to tell you something. There's not a single person in that gym that wouldn't put down $50 immediately if they thought they could do something less boring than the cardio they're doing right now. That's as simple as it gets. If you can create a dynamic experience for them and they have to pay a certain amount of money for that per month, they're going to be willing to do it. I don't care how much it costs because everyone hates doing cardio. If you make it fun, you make it a social experiment. I mean, here's the thing. Here's the thing. The thing about a boxing class, for example, is you have to identify what those value points are. It's social. Most people like to do something social. Okay? Social. Or you can do one-on-one if you want to. If you don't like the whole social part of it, you want individual instruction, bam, you got that too. Either one. You want a dynamic experience as opposed to I'm jumping on this treadmill every day, which is what most people do. Yeah, okay, cool. You want to learn a little bit of self-defense? Cool. How to kind of defend yourself, how to feel confident out in the world? Great. Have you ever seen a boxer or a fighter? They're almost always lean and athletic and cut up, and they look capable. Everyone wants to look like that. Well, how do you think they got there? They got there by doing this activity. There's a reason why a boxer looks like a boxer. There's a reason why a fighter looks like a fighter. There's a reason why a softball player looks like a softball player. It's the activities they're doing. So set it up over many rounds, just like a boxer would. The engagement you're taking with them now, the conversation you're having with them now, maybe you don't use it right now. I mean, if you're a great salesperson, yes, you can take somebody you talk to for the first time right now, and you can transition that into a close today. You can, absolutely. I've done it. I've seen many people do it. But mostly, even if you're not great at sales, you can establish and utilize touch points over time to gradually get them excited about something and set the bait for them, set the trap for them later to come back and cultivate those seeds. Right? There's a million ways of doing it. We're not going to get into that. That should be a separate video. But just be aware of that. Touch points are very important here. Elevator pitch, guys. I'm going to use this to read again. Elevator pitch. An elevator pitch, because I was asked to do an elevator pitch for this particular program. And I'm going to say to you what I said to them. An elevator pitch, they're useful at times, but again, that's not utilizing touch points. There's very few people in the sales world that are good enough to use an elevator pitch and transition it that day into a sale. There's very, very few that can do that. Okay. And that's number one. Not only that, but let me give you an analogy. It's like a pickup line. How many guys do you know, ladies, that can can use a pickup line and transition that into a first date? There's a few that can do it, but not many. Okay. Why is that? Because there are a dime a dozen. There's no connection between it, right? That's like walking out on the street and asking a woman if you can kiss her. And you would deserve it, right? Because you've built no value. There's no connection yet. You've built no relationship. Why is she going to talk to you? She doesn't know you. She doesn't know where you have to offer. You've displayed no value. You have no connection. You've established no relationship. That's the equivalent of what a elevator pitch is. That's a pickup line. Good luck. You can use it if you want to. If you're really good, you can do it. I'm not saying it's impossible. You could go up, if you're really good, you could go up to a woman on the street and tell her you want to kiss her and then pull it off. There probably needs to be alcohol involved, but that's not the point. The point is, how many people can do that? It's not going to be the most efficient way of doing it. Is my point. Connection first, relationships first, not assessments, not elevator pitches, connection, relationship. That's what matters. A pitch is used as a promotion. That's when you use a pitch for something that, for qualified clients, their existing clients, to promote something you already have. If they've never heard of it before, stop using pitches. Okay? You need to get a bit like if you were pitching somebody your business idea, when you get them in a meeting first, you would just walk up to them out of nowhere and be like, hey, I got this to pitch to you. None of them are going to say yes, even if it's the best idea in the world. They're not in the headspace for it. Right? They're not there mentally. They're not there. What are you talking about? Well, I'm on my way to do something. No. You have to make an appointment first. That's another idea. Make an appointment first. But my point is, whether that's a demo, whether that's sitting down with a personal trainer as part of the onboarding process, whether it's the first time they buy a membership, they need to have a meeting first to sit down so they're in the right headspace so that you can show them the value and so that they can tell you what they want and then you can provide the solutions. It's all about them. So we must qualify those leads first, okay? They are partially qualified because they already work out there, correct? Right? They're in the gym now. So they're partially qualified anyway. We're halfway home. They don't need a pitch. Selling isn't telling. How many times we got to say that? Selling is asking questions. Engage them, ask questions. What are your fitness goals? Be specific. They're going to tell you that they need cardio, okay? They're going to tell you. Now, you're, as a fitness professional, going to provide them a solution. Let them sell themselves. It's as simple as that. Allow them to sell themselves. They already want to go a certain direction. All you're doing is saying, hey, this is the way to that direction. They already want to do it, guys. Why are you getting in their way? You don't need a pitch. You just need to usher them where they want to go anyway. Start there. Start with all caps, them. Moving on. You only need an excuse, any excuse to engage them. So this goes for all you boxer trainers out there, whatever. If you're not really a salesperson by nature and you're there to do the practice of boxing and the practice of personal training, all you have to do is engage them. You know how to engage them through your workouts, okay? All you're doing is engaging them to help find them a solution. Now, you can use the pickup line analogy here, okay? So remember we talked about pickup lines? Okay, we can use pickup lines here. Now, what do I mean by that? Here's the analogy. What are pickup lines good for, though? For breaking the ice, for starting the conversation. If it's a good one, if it's a funny one, if you're using humor, if you're using things to diffuse things or deflect things, then it is good, right? By breaking that ice, any excuse to start a conversation, then you can engage and build the connection that you're after. But it must be, here's the key, it must be authentic. It can't come off as phony. It can't come off as manipulative or pushing or pressure-oriented or sleazy, or it becomes like that guy on the street that's asking a woman for a kiss. It's going to come off as creepy. This guy's not genuine. You don't even want a connection. This guy's a sleazeball. It must be genuine, which means you have to believe it. You must be enthusiastic about it. And you have to genuinely want to help someone. It's got to be genuine. You can't fake that. You can for a short period maybe, but you can't fake that and you shouldn't fake that. It's very simple. Just have fun. That's often not talked about, but that's a real thing. Have fun with them, be playful, focus on understanding their needs. Not what's coming for you, not what you're getting out of it, not the commissions. Excuse me. What are you doing to help them achieve their volition? Build value over time, build that connection. And then when the time is right, whether it's that day or whether it's a week or a month from now, provide the solution and then close it. So one more time, what are the selling points here, guys? Fun, guidance in tandem with customized personal training, okay, because they're in tandem. So in theory, they could be in your gym, never not having instruction. And as a bonus, they're probably not going to pay them much. Or even if they do, don't worry about the pay. Remember, we're not worried about price, Jason. Remember, customized personal training and guidance with their boxing or whatever program you're doing gives them complete guidance every time they walk in the gym. They're never not knowing what to do. Dynamic cardio alternative. So they're not just jump on a treadmill every time they come in the gym. And community. Who doesn't like that? And if they don't, then do one-on-one. But there's so many people that love the community. Anybody that's taking a class right now, any other class, is going to want to do that class, correct? And then lastly, depending on who needs it, some people will be intimidated, some people won't be. Words matter. Badassery. How many women out there love that idea of feeling empowered and like they can defend themselves? I use women specifically because I'm telling you from my experience that women love hitting things. I don't know if it's pent up anger. I don't know what it is, but I don't care what you got to do. If you got to take a picture of their boss that they hate and put it on that heavy bag and have them slug away, fine. Okay? You can have them imagine what it's like to hit their boyfriend or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Have fun with it. That's for you to decide. But don't underestimate that empowerment part of it. Now, it's up for you to decide how to word it. What value points are going to be most important to them? How do you know? Because you've asked them questions. You've plugged into their psychology. You understand their psychological profile. You know what drives them. How do you know all this? Because you've spent time. Spending time equals value. If you know nothing about building value, then you can at least spend time and ask questions. At the very least you could do. If you can do that only, you're going to get some clients. I promise you that. All right, next one. Get out on the floor more, guys. You're not going to sell anything sitting in an office. Get on the floor and talk to people. If you're a trainer, you already know this. Okay, but you can't wait for people to hand it to you. Those are bonuses. That's the mentality. That's the bonus. You got to generate your own hype. You got to generate your own leads. This is no different. All right, so get on the floor. It must be visible with other participants. I'm telling you, the best people I've seen with boxing programs, for example, are the ones that go out on the floor and they have mitts on the floor and then they got a little crowd. Go places where you're going to be visible, where you can hear it, you hear the pop. And you have other people that you want in there. For example, if you're trying to attract women, have women out there doing it. Okay? And then do it right by the entrance of the studio. Oh, you like that? Oh, I want to try this. Well, good. Come on in. Have two trainers doing it. So they don't even know the other person's a trainer. It doesn't matter whether they know it or not. Have the trainer hit it. Oh, that'd be fun. Talk to people as they go by. Make jokes. Oh, you want to try? Hey, come on in. Do you have 2 minutes? You're not doing anything right now. You're in the gym. Follow me. And walk them in. Let me give you an example. When anybody that's been to Italy or Greece or anywhere in the Mediterranean, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you go to Italy, Greece, somewhere in the Mediterranean, and you are walking through a street and there's restaurants on the side, you will see the owners and the managers and the waiters each taking turns standing outside. And what are they doing? They're striking up conversations. They're the best salespeople in the world, I'm telling you, right? The Greeks and the Italians, I'm telling you. They sit outside and they'll stand around, they'll joke, they'll just do anything to start a conversation with you. Oh, you're hungry, you look hungry, you need to put on some weight. And they'll literally grab you. Oh, come on in. And let me tell you, it works. Because if you're already hungry and you're looking for a restaurant anyway, that effort that owners put in, joking with you and having a good time, making you feel welcome, just prodding you a little bit, is enough to have you come in. You're looking anyway. Okay? They're already qualified. You see what I'm saying? And so even if they suck, that numbers game of constantly doing that gets people in. It's worked on me, and I'm a sales guy. All right, sell the sizzle, not the steak. You don't have to make this any more complex. Make it visceral. How does it make them feel? That's what we care about. That's why I say fun is so important. That's why I say community is so important. That's why I say having them feel it, actually do it, is so important. Okay, it's not about telling them how great it is. Let them feel how great it is. Let them imagine. Let their imagination and the feeling they get do the selling for you. Selling isn't telling. Sell the emotion, sell the fun, sell the empowerment of that boxing, of that striking, okay? The group. You don't need a salesperson feature dumping on you or dumping the car that they've never seen. It's like going to they've never seen a car, and you got some sleazy salesperson come out going, hey, this car is a V8 and it gets 20 miles to the gallon and it's got this unbelievable navigation system. All these feature dumps they don't give a shit about. They don't know anything about. Doesn't matter. They didn't even know they were aware that they needed this car. Same thing. They aren't even aware right now that they need this cardio class. It wasn't even on their radar. Now, how are you going to get them from the transition from not even knowing about it to being excited about it? Well, that's your job. That's your job. How many times I've heard sales guys go, well, they just don't see the value in it for their money. Well, what am I paying you for? That's what I'm paying you for. You're the person that does that. What are you talking? Don't look at me. What am I paying you for? Get the hell out of here. If you're not going to build the value. I don't want to hear that. It's excuses. What kind of mentally and emotionally weak stuff is that? No. I'm not, what am I paying you for? You see what I'm saying? That's the mentality. The mentality is it's my job to build the value. It's my job to show you how this can help you, to create those relationships, to cultivate, those connections. So let me ask you this: what do you think is more effective? Piggybacking off that, a car salesman that feature dumps a car that the person's never seen and they aren't even aware that they need, or giving them the keys, putting them in the car, and driving with them so they can smell the new car smell. Who doesn't like that, right? The image that they feel now, right? They feel that image. Oh, I'm somebody's empowered now. They feel the image they see themselves as. They're now identifying with that car. They're now identifying with that car. Their personality meshes with that car. They like how people might perceive them in that car. How does it make me feel about myself? Do I feel more empowered? Do I feel cooler? You follow me? They never knew how much they needed it. They do now. Now they feel invigorated. They feel alive. They feel pumped up. They feel empowered. Bam! There you go. That's what it's all about, right? It's that visceral response to something. That's sales. It's your job as a salesperson to have them associate your product or service with those feelings. All right, now we need a gateway drug, don't we? And we've talked about it a little bit. We hit it on this a little bit. We need to pull people off the floor for a quick demo. How do we do that? I can go up right now to somebody who's on a treadmill and start a conversation with them. I can guarantee that I can at least get them in for a demo. And the person right next to it, the person right next to it. It's all about effort, guys. It's really no more than how much you want it. It's like in sports. You can tell the people that want it and people who don't. There is such thing as effort. There are guys who are far more talented, but there are people out there that are just willing to put in more effort. And there's nothing more telling than a program that won't get off the ground because people just simply won't do the basic things. You don't have to do much. It doesn't take much to implement a new program if everyone's doing the same thing, working as a team. It doesn't need to be vigorous. It doesn't need to be like over the top. You don't need all these fancy gimmicks. You don't need any of that stuff. Because if you need that, it's not a good program to start with. It's not a good idea. You don't need gimmicks for value. Value is going to be something you can easily sell. You should be able to easily display the value if it's a good product or service. If it's not, then find something else. It's as simple as this, guys. Do you like hitting things? I mean, it sounds stupid, but I have used that. Do you like hitting things? Do you like punching stuff? Or you look aggressive. Do you like hitting things? I mean, I don't know. Do you? Hey, Lisa, do you like hitting things? Right? If I put mitts on, would you like to hit those for your cardio? How would you like that? That might be fun, right? It's not intimidating. Do you like to hit things? Okay. I think a lot of people worry that, oh, it's going to be intimidating because we call it this, we call that. You don't have to worry about that. You know why you don't have to worry about that? Because I'm a sales guy. I'm going to explain it to them. If you have a team that can explain it and sell it properly, it doesn't even matter how you advertise it or what you want to call the class. That is very little to do with anything. It's important, yes, we'll consider that, but you don't have to worry about what to call the class. You need to worry about how you're going to execute, how you're going to present it when you're talking to them one-on-one, how you're going to display the value. What's your strategy going to be in that way? Do you like cardio? Guess what? I don't either. I hate cardio. You know what I like to do instead? I like hitting stuff. It's fun. It's dynamic. I feel like I'm getting some out of it. I'm sweating and stuff. You want to try? You know, no one likes it, but you know what I do like? I do like boxing. I do like playing basketball, right? And if I'm excited about it, you're gonna be excited about it. I like hitting stuff. By the way, women love hitting stuff. Why is that, Lisa? Why is it all women seem to like hitting stuff in here? Every woman I talk to in this gym loves hitting stuff. They love this class. I don't know why is that. You tell me. You see what I'm doing there? All right. Oh, let me show you the studio. Once I get them in there, have a further conversation. Then maybe I'll sit down with them. Maybe I'll do a demo. There's all kinds of strategies. They all can leave. There's a million ways to skin a rabbit. Still dead. That's a terrible analogy. All right. Use assumptive closing. When you get in here, do you see how that's going to make you feel? Do you feel how strong that makes you feel when you hit that? How does it, right? When you get in here, do you feel like, Mrs. Smith, that if we did this for your cardio 3 times a week, that you'd see some results? We'd get rid of those bus driver arms you were talking about that you said you hated? It's driving you nuts. Do you think you'd get rid of them if we did this 3 times a week, plus all the resistance training you were doing with your personal trainer? What do you think? How long do you think it would take you if you're eating well? Are you going to eat poorly when we're doing this? Right? So when you come in Wednesday to take this class, how do you think you're going to feel afterwards after you've, been in here with the group and whatever? You follow me? But everything's assumptive. I know they're going to do it. It's just a matter of how long is it going to take them to get in shape, right? So that's the assumptive. The assumptive close starts with the assumptive mindset. All right, and I'm going to reiterate building value one more time, guys, because it's that important. How? We must build and show value first, prior to the close. Don't just go in there and ask for it. It's like asking for a kiss without first showing that you're a guy worthy of a kiss or a woman worthy of a kiss, okay? You have to present, before you present prices and attempting to close, you have to recap the value again, all right? Make them feel a certain way again. Have them talk about their frustrations or their pain points or whatever. Again, you should build the value to such a level that they should be asking you questions about how much it costs or how do they commit? How long do you think it'll take me? If they're asking you buying questions, you're close. You can ask trial close questions. When you're doing this on Wednesday, blah, blah, blah. This is not only assumptive close, but it's also trial close question. How close are they to buying, in other words? How close do you have? Do you have to tease them a little bit more? You have to whet their appetite a little bit more? Or do you have to positively, I use the word positive purposely, give them a positive push first? Because sometimes you do. Hey, look, try this out. I'm telling you, if you do this I'll tell you what, you make a commitment to me, I'll make a commitment to you. If you do this for a month, now you got to do it for a month because otherwise it's not going to be enough time to show you that it actually works and that you actually like it, right? That's fair to say. Is that not, Miss Lisa, right, Miss Smith? Okay, do this for a month. If you don't feel like it's worth it to you, then you come find me, no problem. But I can promise you, do you really think that's going to happen after 3 months or after a month of working out? No, you're probably going to be addicted to it, which is the exact thing. You've started a habit, the habit that's so hard for most people to establish. We've done it. We've, in a good way, we've tricked you into establishing a habit. And guess what? You had fun doing it. That's the trick, isn't it? Isn't that the key, Mrs. Smith? And remember, guys, there's no substitute in terms of building value. Words can only do so much for spending time. The reason why a lot of people don't close is not willing to spend time. They're not willing to put in effort. And the reason why they can't put in the effort because they feel like it's such a drag is because they're not in it for the right reasons. They're in it for the commission, or they're in it for what I can get out of it. They're not focused their attention on that person. If you're trying to genuinely help that person, guess what's going to happen? You're going to naturally want to spend time, and they're going to feel it. A lot of people, and I hate to say this, but a lot of people will say yes to you because they almost feel obligated because you have spent so much time. And then once they're into it anyway, they're like, you know what? I really do like this. I'm so glad. I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me when I've sold them personal training or put them with a trainer after I sold them. And I made them all these promises, and they said, you know what? I'm so glad that I decided to commit to this and that you were right. You were absolutely right. I said, well, what did you expect? I'm the professional here. But you see what I'm saying? So that's, first of all, it's very rewarding, but also it goes to show that sometimes people don't know what's right. And you're the professional. It's your job to show them what's right. Don't be afraid to steer that ship. You're the competent professional here. You have to be the man or the woman, and you have to show them the way. That's your job. Don't ask them if they're going to do it. You assume they're going to do it. This is what they need, whether they know it or not. That's why they came here. I assume you came here because you wanted professional advice. I happen to be the professional. So this is what I recommend. Okay, so quick strategies, guys. Let's recap that. Drop seeds consistently, constantly. Always drop seeds. That way there's touch points constantly. So if you're not going to cultivate it right this second, you can cultivate it pretty soon, okay, or down the line. Even when they don't commit to boxing immediately or whatever other program, they will eventually have the first contact person. This is another strategy. Whether it's the membership consultant, whether it's the front desk person, whether it's somebody you met on the street, doesn't make any difference to me. Have them alert other people in the sales process, other touch points, like further down the line. Maybe it's a personal trainer they're going to come in contact with next. Maybe it's another salesperson they're going to come in contact next. Maybe it's the demo person. Whatever that person is, the next touch point, whatever that employee is, let them know that this is a good lead and this is what they're looking to get out of it. These are their goals. Maybe some pointers about how to close them. Look, I think you could close them. It seems to be their driving want, seems to be X, Y, and Z. This seems to be their pain point. This seems to be what's their why, their reason why they're here. That might help you close them, just letting you know. And then debrief the next fitness professional that's in line for that next portion of the sales process. So that person knows what to do because you're a team after all. This involves communication. Wow, go figure. We're not operating in silos. No, that's right. If you're going to pull off this program or any program for that matter, there needs to be communication, guys. Okay? And not just emails. One-on-one communication is still the best communication. You won't be playing telephone like that old kid, the game that you played. By the time it gets to the third person, the message is completely lost. One-on-one, buddy referrals, word of mouth, direct communication is always going to be the best marketing for anything. And it's the same thing for when you're trying to communicate with your staff. You have to communicate that one-on-one or in a small group setting. How are we going to do this as a team? How are we going to execute? The more simple, the better. If you're trying to muck up the waters with a bunch of complicated things that no one understands, look, guys, if you don't understand it or your employees don't understand it, if it's not that simple, that you can't communicate it very quickly and very efficiently on how to execute, then forget about it. It's not good enough yet. Go back to the drawboard. Go back to the whiteboard and rehash it. Make it more simple. Simple. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't make it complicated, because if it's complicated in general, it's going to be complicated for your employees. They're not going to understand how to get on board with it. They're not going to want to. And then they're not going to be able to communicate this very complicated thing to someone else. Simple. Simplify. Make it about the emotion. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. Make it fun. Very simple things, guys, that we can do right this second. Doesn't have to be difficult. You don't need a bunch of bells and whistles and all these formulas. It's not complicated, guys. It's the human element. It's a connection. It's not any assessment that you're doing that's going to be the wow factor. Okay, it's none of that. None of that matters. That's all just bells and whistles and it mucks up the water. Those are nice additives. Those are nice bonuses. And they're good tools that we can use occasionally sometimes to help us in the sales process. But the bread and butter, the fundamentals that will never change from now to 1,000 years from now is the connection, the relationships you're building with that person in front of you. And that involves emotions. You can never underestimate that. Even if someone didn't need the service, they might jump aboard simply because it made them feel a certain way or because they liked you. No one buys from someone they don't like. Or no one buys if they're confused, which is why you must keep it simple. And then last, but really first, well, maybe not first, but up there. This is a fundamental principle that I've taught many times in other videos. Again, it's crazy to have to reiterate this, but I've seen this with fitness professionals throughout my career, and it blows the mind, boggles the mind how you can go through and learn all this stuff and be good at certain skill sets in terms of fitness and maybe even some facets of sales. And you go through all the trouble, maybe do an entire presentation. Maybe it takes you an hour. Maybe you've had touch points all along, whatever, makes no difference. But you don't ask for the sale. How can you neglect that part of it? That is the most important thing. Ask for the sale. How are they going to get help unless you ask for the sale? I don't mean like literally, will you buy this from me? Although I guess you could. But here's the solution essentially that I have for you. Try this out. It's that simple, right? Ask for the sale, guys. You went through all that trouble. Don't wait for the be-back bus. That's why with personal trainers, for example, usually they'll meet with prospective clients twice, right? They get at least two complimentary consults, right? Well, I always tell people that I sales train, close them the first time. Don't wait for them to come back. Close them the first time. And that's why I always leave opportunities like assessments and things for the second one, because that might be what draws them back the second time if I don't close it. But I'm going to close them the first time. I'm going to close them the first time. That's not a problem. Because if they see the value, I'm going to show them the value. Why are they going to wait on it? That's silly. I'm going to incentivize them not to wait. And if for no other reason, then, hey, working out is a commitment. Procrastination is what got you here to me. Okay? So now that you finally got here, I think procrastination, again, may not be the best avenue. What do you think? Right? So ask for the sale. But remember, before you ask for the sale, guys, you must display value and then recap that value prior to the price presentation. All right, that's all I have for you today. I think that was long enough. If you have any questions, any thoughts, any input, any feedback, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I'd love to work with you. And if I could lend my hand in any way, shape, or form, I can sit down with you one-on-one. We can do a Zoom, we can do a group meeting, whatever it takes. But if you're unclear, I think I've made that pretty clear. But remember, guys, checklist. If you go through all those things to make a checklist, it's just a matter of execution. If you execute those things every day, and everybody on your team is executing those very simple principles every day, they're not complicated. They're en route to what you're doing already during that day. You don't have to go out of your way to do anything. Then guess what? Everybody wins. And then that's when you have all your programs coming up together, because you're not robbing from Paul to pay Peter, right? Because everyone's cross-promoting, and it's advantageous to everyone. What you don't want to do is implement a program that's advantageous to one group, but you're taking stuff from other people. Because that never works. I've never seen that work. Okay, because you're not getting everybody on board to do that. Okay, they'll tell you that, but they're not going to actually do it because it's hurting them. That's silly. Okay, and you have to incentivize it enough to where everybody does want to help. Okay, so till next time, guys, thank you for your time.